Well, imagine being rushed interstate to undergo emergency brain surgery, your life's at risk, and you survive against the odds, only to be forced into hotel quarantine while recovering before you are allowed to go home. That's what's happened to Jane Brown, a Sunshine Coast resident, a Queenslander who was rushed to Sydney on the 10th of August to have 2 brain tumours removed. The Queensland Government knocked back Jane's application to allow her to recover in quarantine in her own home on a rural Queensland property, despite an impassioned plea from her neurosurgeon, Dr. Charlie Teo. She joins me now from her Brisbane hotel, where she's in forced quarantine. Jane, before we get into the circumstances, I understand apparently you've had a hotel move today. What's caused that?
That was very sudden and unexpected, actually. About 11:30 this morning, we got a knock on our hotel room with 2 big burly police officers saying, "We've come to move you, and when can you be ready?" And we were like, half an hour. So they've actually taken us to another hotel. We've gone from a little room, 5 by 5, without a microwave, to a suite with a microwave and a kitchen and lounge room and a dining room and an outdoor area, a balcony with fresh air.
And did they tell you why you got the move? Because it's certainly, I think, once your story's gone public, a lot of people, not just Queenslanders, right around the country, cannot believe you're being treated like this after such major surgery.
It was all over a microwave. I was asking for a microwave so I could heat up my heat packs. It was part of my pain management. So as you can imagine, I've got titanium plates in my head now because my skull had been removed. And the heat pack was part of my plan, and we couldn't access a microwave. So it was a big hoo-ha about that. So finally today, we've been moved to a hotel that has a microwave in it.
So let me understand, you go down to Sydney for this emergency surgery that's not available, presumably closer to home. On the way back, you had a letter from your surgeon, Charlie Teo, arguing that you had medical exemption grounds to be able to recover at home. What happened then?
When we got to the airport in Brisbane, we handed over his letter. They tried everything that they could. They made phone calls. They said, no exemption. You just have to go into hotel quarantine. So
and was that a surprise to you? Because, I mean, you're in not an urban area, you're on a rural or regional property. You were hardly likely, even if you had COVID, to be a risk to anyone. What grounds do they give you?
The grounds were, I'm not an exceptional circumstance. They don't class brain tumour operation as exceptional circumstances. So I don't.
But if you're a celebrity, we've seen plenty of cases of people with money in their pocket or celebrities getting exemptions into Queensland.
Correct. It doesn't make sense to me. Does not make sense to me. I'm in pain. I'm just locked in a little room. I've also got a weak and numb right leg from the surgery. So we're in a little 5 by 5 room. We did get allowed to have like a 20-minute break, like a fresh air break every day. But that was crazy because we were mixing with more people in that 20 minutes than we would have been if we were home. So once again, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Has the government been in touch with you after your story was made public to explain why you won't have an exemption and why they won't grant you an exemption?
No, I just got a letter, just like a basic letter to say you've been denied exemption. They did say we've had emails from Dr. Charlie Teo and 4 of your local members of parliament. However, you've been denied an exemption. You do not fall under exceptional circumstances.
I put your story up on my Facebook page today after I heard about your circumstances on Morning Brisbane Radio. I can't tell you the response from people right around the country. Just phenomenal. And I particularly put up the photograph of you trying to heat your wheat pack, which you've just told us now is part of your pain management. You're on Panadol and a wheat pack, for goodness sake, after brain surgery. And you were trying to warm it up with a hairdryer. And I think that was such a personal example that went out to everyone. some of my Facebook people wrote back immediately. They say this is a disgraceful abuse of power. They are angry at the government. They don't understand if you live in a rural property, you're hardly likely to go out to a nightclub, are you? They want to see some compassion. Are you and your partner angry?
We are angry, and we are angry that Jeanette Young has gone against, in my opinion, the best neurosurgeon in the world, his recommendation for his patient. He recommended that we isolate at home, and she's just ignored that. So I don't understand that. She's overridden his recommendation.
Yeah, we're always told, aren't we, that we should listen to the experts. I think when it comes to brain surgery, Charlie Teo would be trumping Jeanette Young. Do you hold out any hope? I'm told you've still got another week to go. Do you hold out any hope that you'll be able to let, leave earlier and get home?
I very much doubt it. That's our second knockback that we've had from her. I got my first knockback rejection letter while I was in hospital. Then we trumped it up, and we got everyone on board, everyone behind us, and we still got a knockback. So we've got like 4 days to go now. They've put us in a pretty, nice hotel, but it's not home. We just need to get home. That's what we need to do.
Well, other than all of these sort of pressures that you don't need, how's your recovery going, Jane?
I have good and bad. Like this morning, I was in a lot of pain. When we were at the other hotel, it was really, really painful, and I've had some really, really bad nights. It comes and goes, my recovery, my pain, I should say. Like I'm fine now, but anytime I can get like striking pain that goes all down the side of my face, and it's like nerve endings that are like repairing, and my brain's getting used to all the plates and things like that. So it is pretty painful. It really, really is.
Well, you're extraordinary. Yeah. You're extraordinary to come on tonight and talk about this circumstance. I think it's very, very important that everyone in the country, Queenslanders in particular, know exactly how their own people are being treated. I wish you all the very best with your recovery, and as I said, I really appreciate you making the time to come on the show tonight.
Thank you. And can I just say one last thing?
Of course.
Labor has lost my vote. That's for sure. Thank you.
There you go. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, there you go. That is a pretty damning indictment on the Queensland government. If you'd like to donate to assist Jane's medical and now heavy quarantine costs, you'll find a link to her GoFundMe page on my Facebook. Well, what a truly horrible story. It's not the only incident, however, where Queenslanders have been knocked back by the Palaszczuk government over their draconian border measures. Queensland's opposition leader Deb Frecklington joins me now. Deb Frecklington, you're familiar with Jane's story. There's been other stories like this, I'm sad to say. How is it, though, that celebrities like Danny Minogue get a medical exemption, yet this Queenslander, one of your own, is left in a hotel room to recover from major brain surgery?
Yeah, look, it's truly shocking, Peter, and you're absolutely right that how can it be the case that celebrities like Danny Minogue come into Queensland, but yet we've got Jane Brown, the story that you've just heard. I've spoken to Jane, and I've actually written to the Premier on her behalf because she's been rejected, home quarantine. She's got medical advice from, the renowned Charlie Teo that tells her her health would be much better if she could quarantine at home. Now, this is a Queenslander who had to travel interstate, Peter, to get this, life-saving brain operation, cancer treatment that cannot stop because of COVID. Now, then on the weekend, I helped little Luella Gilliland, who thankfully has eventually got an exemption after I had to write to the Premier. Now, she's 2. She was in Sydney for a heart operation, a life-saving heart operation. All of her doctors had said, quarantine at home where you can get the right food, the right loving care from her beautiful young parents. And yet it took a letter from me as opposition leader in Queensland to make the Premier sit up and listen So what I want to see is I want to see a bit of compassion coming from the Premier here in Queensland. These stories are shocking.
They are shocking. And of course, if you get COVID inside the Queensland borders, you get to self-isolate at home. It's just if you're a Queenslander, you haven't even got COVID, you've had an operation interstate because the services aren't there in Queensland, you return home, and whether you've got it or not, you go into hotel quarantine, unless, of course, you're rich or you're a celebrity.